People deluded. Now we know it's the festive period for all leagues in Europe, so the games are coming thick and fast. So in regards to Reiss Nelson and his team Hoffenheim, I mean their games have been coming thick and fast. They've played against Mainz, they've played against Werder Bremen, and forgive me if I'm wrong, they played against Gladbach. I finally caught up with all of his action within the games respectively, and yeah, in the name of talking about his progress, or just as an Arsenal fan, with the hope of him coming back and playing, I love Reiss Nelson. Just my opinions. Well, he only got 12 minutes against Mainz. He came on and he was playing on the left-hand side. He got a few touches, but realistically, unless you kind of score within them moments, there's not really anything of note to speak about within that game. It was a good goal by Mainz in that game for them. I think they're, what was it? I can't remember the score. I think it was 1-1. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but if it wasn't, Mainz' first goal was a very good one. Guy really showed a turn of pace, if I remember correctly. But yeah, he got 12 minutes. Gladbach, he played against Gladbach. That's a good game. That's a big game. He started. That's a show of confidence because Gladbach have been in good form in the Bundesliga. Them and Dortmund are more or less, give or take, looking at possibly winning the title or at least competing for it. So he got a show of face by his manager to play in that game. He got 70 odd minutes. What I liked about him in that game, I'm not gonna lie, didn't make no headlines and things like that as some people would hope for. I mean, but for me personally, I'm seeing a lot of promise in him, and it's very encouraging. He's not grabbing any headlines as much as he was when he was scoring goals in games. And I did tell people, if you're actually watching him week in week out, or actually looking at the highlights past the goals, you can see that when you look past the goals, he's still developing. I keep telling people I love Reiss Nelson, but just let the man develop. Don't think he's gonna leave after making 16 appearances at Arsenal last season, go back from Hoffenheim and go Hoffenheim and come back this monster. I'd love for that to happen, but he's still developing. He's barely played professional football. Is that being said, he's don't get it twisted. I'm not trying to mellow him down, people. He's making a promising start. 21 appearances, he's got 7 goals. For Gladbach. Now in that Gladbach, I mean for Hoffenheim against Gladbach, he set up Joel Linton as well, but it was marked for offside. But what I like about Nelson, at Arsenal there is a lot of movement, but on a frequent level you hear me say there's not. I like Reiss Nelson. He makes a lot of movement. He can start out wide, and he's kind of understood now to get in goal scoring positions. You have to come inside. He's very calculated. He makes a lot of runs off defenders. That's one thing. He's very calculated. He can see things developing and he senses it, and he connects well and links up with his teammates. And game in game out, I'm seeing him look more assured of himself in that regard. That's one thing. What you do off the ball makes all the difference. That's one thing he's going to need. Obviously, again, he's still a young player. He's still trying to get consistency. And my personal opinion is that he's yet to probably fully earn Nagelsmann's trust. Because if you look in his performances, I think he's only played 90 minutes, completed 90 minutes once. He's played a lot of appearances, and at the end of the day, he's getting a lot of experience. And I think he's growing. But he's only he's only completed 90 minutes once and 70 minutes on another occasion. He's got a fair amount of minutes here and there, but if we was to look at it without the micro and was just looking at it from an Arsenal's perspective, you sent your youngster on loan to get games and develop an education. All of that's happening, but by the flip side, he's not finishing games. Now, either there's something wrong with him to deem him not starting games. Like I said, nothing wrong in the sense that he's not good enough, but yet to fully earn probably the trust tactically and things like that. Or is it a case of he fades out of games so you can't trust him to finish it? He's still, like I said, he's still trying to get that consistency of performing week in, week out to a high standards. He has been used all over the place as well. Obviously, we also need to remember Hoffenheim is not the Reiss Nelson Development FC. They've got their own stuff and they actually can't keep a clean sheet. They've had some good results, but they've had some mixed results. So there's other things going on in the background. So you can't exactly cater to Nelson. At times Nelson has gone quiet there, but I'm seeing a lot of promise, man. At the end of the day, it's a good education. From an Arsenal fan's perspective, seeing Mkhitaryan injured, now we're down to our bare bones. It does make the case of bringing him back from Hoffenheim 6 months early stronger. Like I said, if we was to look at it halfway through the season, give or take, we're in December now, and say, has he had a positive loan spell? Without a doubt, he's had a positive loan spell. Like I said, he's looking stronger game in, game out. For me, it's all off the ball. He's improving defensively and showing he's always shown a willingness to defend, but actually understanding what to do. He's making good runs that allows his teammates to exploit the spaces and things like that. There was one game, I think it was Gladbach, he actually made a run for the defender and checked back in, and the defender followed Nelson, so there was a space there for someone else to exploit. Things like that. Nelson's always had good movement, but it's getting stronger and stronger. Probably needs to refine his finishing and stuff. He gets in good positions and he dribbles past people. But and he does. I'm not saying he can't finish, but just to take it to that next level, he's still a young man, but he's doing all right, man. Just on a couple notes of the Gladbach game again, 39th minute, great acceleration to get across the goal area. He just couldn't make contact. 53rd minute, if he sorts his footing out, he probably could score, but it was hard to fashion a chance, to be fair. He also could have done within the same minute, he could have scored with a header, could have done better with a header, but Hoffenheim were trying to walk it in the back of the net at this time, which they've tried to do, and I've watched them on a couple times this season. 65th minute, lovely play, but ultimately a tame effort against Bremen. Admittedly, people have only seen the highlights, so I can't really context within the game, but in his odd minutes, he got, again, cute touches, but yeah, he's learning a lot. Without a doubt, he's learned more than he probably would have spent with the under-23s. Now, saying that, my personal opinion is he would have got a fair amount of football if he stayed at Arsenal and until now. But hindsight's a wonderful thing, and yeah, he's trying to get consistency. Out of 10, I'd give his loan spell a 7 out of 10, to be honest with you, really, because at the end of the day, he's got 7 goals in 21 appearances. He's looking strong. He's doing his thing. He just needs to gain that consistency, gain that next level of performance, and undoubtedly he'll do that. I think it's a good learning experience, like I said, man. I've got some notes in red. Yeah, like I said, he's only completed 90 minutes once. If we was to just look at it without all of the macro and all of the youngster sort of stuff, you would be a bit concerned about that. And probably in recent fixtures, he's probably fallen out of favour a tiny bit. But either way, I believe in Reiss Nelson. I think he's destined for the 7th shirt at Arsenal. Him and Emil, give or take, and Saka, the biggest prospects, and Amici, to be fair, the biggest prospects in the last 10 years, or probably since Wilshere came through, to be honest with you. Don't know what's in the water at Haaland, but it's testament to them. Away from Reiss Nelson, his teammate Demrebe and who's the other one? Florent Goretz, I can't say his name, butchered it like you saw. But I'd like to think big clubs or bigger clubs than Hoffenheim, no disrespect to looking at them players, especially Demrebe. I mean, it's been a while. Doesn't he play for Germany and them things there? But yeah, man, at the end of the day, Reiss Nelson's learning a lot now. Again, on the topic of Mkhitaryan being injured, the case of bringing back Reiss Nelson is stronger. Personally, people, I know January is a notoriously tough time to do business, but I would love to see a centre-half come into this club. I'd love to see a left-sided fullback come into this club. And without a doubt, I'd love to see a wide man come into this club. But again, it's difficult to do in January. As for the profile of the player, I don't really care. Of course, I would love as many stars at Arsenal as possible. But if Mislintat can get someone from the other side of the world, or even Antarctica where no one lives, and they're good enough for Arsenal and they can do what Lucas Torreira and all these signings have done, then do it, innit? It doesn't matter if a person's been signed for 50p or £1 million in my book. But yeah, we're going off topic. Our squad's stretched, yeah. But like I said, we're going off topic. People, deluded, comment, subscribe, and do the rest if you wish, man. Yeah, I'm out.